Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch from Crime Talk, and thanks for watching. Obviously, first thing on the docket today, Lori Vallow. She has a new case. We have the details. Next on the docket, you think you are having a rough week. Listen to this fact pattern. And finally, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch from Crime Talk, and thanks for watching. As always, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live, and always leave us a comment on what you think about what we talk about today. First on the docket, Lori Vallow. Now, obviously, we're bringing this video to you early. Why? Because we're going live tonight at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So Lori Vallow has a new case. We went live last night because the news was breaking that Lori Vallow had new charges. Well, guess what? She does. And she has a hearing today at 4:30 p.m. for her advisement on this new case. Now, a lot of people said they were going to dismiss the desertion case because obviously the kids were found. I didn't think so. And guess what? This is a brand new case for Lori Vallow. She has an advisement this afternoon at 4:30, as I just said, and her bond has been set at $1 million. So now she has $1.5 million in bonds on both of her cases, and she's not going to be able to make it. More than likely, her attorney will ask for a bond reduction hearing as well, but seems pretty unlikely at this point that any bond will be reduced. So let's get to the specifics. The district attorney last night filed a criminal complaint, and in that complaint, they had 2 counts of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. And guess what? Happens to anybody. They messed up a couple of dates, and they made some pen changes. So they do what all district attorneys do, or any of us in the legal community, when we find out we made a mistake, we file an amended criminal complaint. So the amended criminal complaint still has 2 counts: conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. And we will just give it to you as it is, so nothing is being misconstrued or misinterpreted in any way, and then we will in fact talk about it. First, it alleges that the defendants, Chad Guy Daybell, Lori Vallow, and or another person or persons on or between 22nd day of September 2019 and the 9th day of June 2020 in the county of Fremont, state of Idaho, and elsewhere did willfully and knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence in a felony proceeding, inquiry, and or investigation authorized by law, with the intent to prevent it from being so produced, used, and or discovered, to wit, human remains of J.J. Vallow, which is in violation of Idaho Code Section 18-2603 and 18-1701. That is count 1. Count 2 is exactly the same, other than it mentions Tylee Ryan. The overt act. You always need an overt act when you have a conspiracy. That is basically the substantial step for the completion of the conspiracy. It alleges that on or about November 26, Chad Guy Daybell misrepresented the nature of his relationship with Lori Vallow while questioned by Rexburg Police Department during a lawful investigation regarding the whereabouts of J.J. Vallow. On or about November 26, 2019, Chad Guy Daybell contacted Melanie Gibb via phone for the purpose of requesting and or encouraging non-cooperation with law enforcement's lawful investigation regarding the whereabouts of J.J. Vallow. On or about November 26, Lori Vallow provided a false and or misleading physical location of J.J. Vallow to law enforcement during a lawful investigation. On or about November 26, Lori Vallow contacted Melanie Gibb via phone for the purpose of requesting and or encouraging non-cooperation with law enforcement, lawful investigation regarding the whereabouts of J.J. Vallow. On or about November 26, 2019, Lori Vallow contacted Melanie Gibb via phone for the purpose of requesting and or encouraging Melanie Gibb to prepare and or present false evidence to law enforcement regarding the whereabouts of J.J. Vallow during a lawful investigation. And on or between the dates of January 30th, 2020 and June 9th of 2020, Lori Vallow refused and or did fail to comply with the court's order to produce her minor child, to wit, J.J. Vallow, to the Rexburg Police Department or the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare in Madison County. Count 2, like I said, just mentions Tylee Ryland, so the dates are different, and obviously the victim is different. So those charges were presented last night, along with the arrest warrant setting bond at $1 million. But was of what was of greater interest to me was the affidavit for the arrest warrant. Now, as we read through the complaint and information, you never heard the name Alex Cox mentioned, did you? No, you did not. In fact, the only people who were alleged in the conspiracy were Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, and or another person or persons on or between those particular dates. So Alex Cox would be, in fact, an unindicted co-conspirator in this particular case. And that's why I was rather interested, as we mentioned last night when we went live, that the probable cause, an affidavit for arrest warrant, would be the most intriguing document. In actuality, it is 16 pages long. Page 15 of the affidavit for the arrest warrant shows the interesting information that we were looking for. And that basically goes on in paragraph 62 of the affidavit. It states, Chad Daybell performed at least the following overt acts in furtherance of the aforementioned conspiracy. And the aforementioned facts were basically the same as it related to the affidavit for arrest for Chad Daybell when he was arrested basically for the same charges. His charges were more than likely to be amended to show a conspiracy. But they say Chad Daybell performed these following acts in furtherance of the conspiracy. A, texted Tammy Daybell and told her about burning debris and burying a dead raccoon in the pet cemetery on September 9th of 2019. Deceptively acted as if he did not know Vallow very well and did not know Vallow's phone number when questioned by the Rexburg police on November 26, despite the fact that they were married at the time. Paragraph 63. Alex Cox performed at least the following overt acts in furtherance of the aforementioned conspiracy. Told Rexburg police on or about November 26, 2019, that JJ was with his grandma, Kay Woodcock, in Louisiana, and B, transported J.J. Vallow from Madison County, Idaho, to Chad Daybell's property in Fremont County on September 23rd of 2019. Now, where it really gets good here, not a lot of whole new information, but clearly Lori Vallow performed at least the following overt acts in furtherance of the aforementioned conspiracy. She telephoned Melanie Gibbs and asked her to lie to the police about JJ and his location. Asked Gibb to create false evidence of JJ's existence and location. Falsely informed the Rexburg police that JJ was in Arizona with Melanie Gibb. Falsely informed the Rexburg Police Department that Tylee was attending BYU, Idaho, and living with Vallow. Refused to produce the children to the Rexburg Police or the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare as required by a court order. Those are the facts. Still nothing in there as it related to a murder charge. Obviously, nothing new in this affidavit, as it very much parrots what was in Chad Daybell's affidavit as well. The heat is definitely being turned up on Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. We're going to continue to follow it. Join us tonight as we go live on YouTube and Facebook at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and we'll talk Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell for as long as you would like, or at least for the first hour. Like I said, this case is getting more interesting, a little more bizarre, and anytime, as we talked about last night, where Chad Daybell is having conversations with his now deceased wife, Tammy's deceased grandmother, that really makes you got to wonder what these people were thinking and why the mind games that they were trying to play each other. Were these people so in love that they just had to be together and the only way they could do it was to knock everybody off? We'll see. Obviously, everyone's given the presumption of innocence that we talk about here on Crime Talk. Have you ever had a tough week? Well, there's a Kentucky man that can probably have one of those, oh yeah, I got a story for you kind of weeks. A guy by the name of Devin Roberts was apparently arrested 3 times in 4 days. Now that's a tough week. We've talked about a couple of these individuals in California that did it, but listen to this guy's story. Mr. Roberts' trouble began earlier in the week when he was arrested for possessing some $5,000 worth of emergency lights and hydraulic pumps that belonged to the city of Bardwell, Kentucky. So he gets out on bond. The police then want to start talking to him because apparently he left his 3-year-old child that was being watched by a person who was apparently drunk at the time when the police come by. Then, if things weren't getting worse, he didn't get arrested for that, but the police wanted to talk to him because apparently he was accused of using obscene remarks toward an underage female employee at a grocery store when he tried starting a fight with the other employees. But then, on a Saturday night, the police found Roberts slumped over in his car outside of his home, completely passed out, and he was given a DUI. So that's the second arrest, but clearly a tough week. His third arrest comes the following day when he was pulled over with his buddy who was cited for driving under the influence. But Roberts wasn't driving, but guess what? He was intoxicated and he was charged with violation of the protection order and the bond conditions of the previous case for stealing, allegedly, the city's emergency equipment and hydraulic gear. So next time you think you're having a bad day, just remember Devin Roberts. It could always be worse. Before we get to our dumb criminal contestant of the day, we are going to talk about a background subscription. Our dumb criminal contestant of the day is going to be the reason why you want a background search. All right? Everyone wants to conduct a background search on somebody. When you're laying in bed at night wondering something about that particular person just doesn't seem right, wouldn't you love to be able to anonymously search that individual and find information about their criminal history? Maybe whether they're a registered sex offender, if they own any property, is something just not adding up? Criminal records, where they lived before, are they being truthful to you? You can get all that information, including social media information, by going to CrimeTalkSearch.com. Sign up for a subscription. You can cancel at any time if you're not satisfied, but you will be completely satisfied. Go to CrimeTalk Search, sign up now. You won't be disappointed. All right, now to our dumb criminal contestant of the day. And if you ever wanted to use a background search, this is the guy you want to do it on. That's right. A gentleman by the name of James Quigley lives in Dallas, Texas, and he's obviously given the presumption of innocence. But he is alleged as a teacher of allegedly having inappropriate conduct with one of his students. Apparently, his mother became concerned when he showed up at her house and wanted to hang out with the dog, and she believed that she saw her daughter being touched inappropriately. Well, Mr. Quigley, being the smart man that he is, because he wouldn't want his wife, who's a fellow teacher at the same school, to find out of his little extracurricular trysts, Mr. Quigley asked the young woman, who was 14, to sign a document saying, I will give you at least a B, an 85, in any class that I have you in, as long as you don't tell the rest of the world about our little romance. Well, Mr. Quigley, sometimes, and we say this often in the legal world, if it's not on paper, it didn't happen. Well, apparently you put it on paper and it did happen. So Mr. Quigley is our dumb criminal contestant of the week. Do not document your criminal ongoing adventure with anyone. Just like you don't want to put it on Facebook, you don't want to put it on YouTube, you certainly don't want to write it out and keep it there for future posterity to see, including the police. Mr. Quigley, you are a dumb criminal contestant of the day. And if you are a winner at the end of the week, you too can have a Crime Talk mug. And if you would like to have a Crime Talk mug, hit the link below, go to Teespring, and you can get your own mug, and you don't even have to be a dumb criminal contestant. That's all we have for you for today. We're putting this out a little early because we want you to come join us live at 6 p.m. and we'll talk about Lori Vallow and her new charges and Chad Daybell or anything else that people want to talk about tonight. We'll be taking your questions. Have a great day. We'll see you tonight on our live edition of Crime Talk.